Welcome to the pursuit of moneyness, and let's play a little game called Would You Rather? Would you rather buy this house for 1 million or 2.4 million? Would you rather buy this car for 350,000 or 440,000? Would you go on this holiday for 30,000 or 41,000? Now, it's very likely that you chose option 1 the whole time, but if you've ever taken out a loan for any of these items, it's most likely that you paid for number 2. Welcome to episode 2 of this 4-part series called The Roadmap to Your Financial Freedom. So what you've just witnessed in the previous scene is the effect of interest rates on a loan. Luckily for you today, I'm going to show you techniques on how to quickly pay off your debt so that doesn't actually happen to you. Because unfortunately, some of us are in the position, in order for us to purchase our bigger and larger purchases, we need to make use of an establishment, in essence, the bank. Now, the bank gives you that money up front, but yes, the unfortunate fee we pay for that is interest. So I'm pretty sure if I do the exercise again and ask you and ask anybody the debt that you own, if you could see the amount of interest you'd pay beforehand, would you really still do it? Be honest with yourself. If you saw it beforehand, if you purchased your house and you see that you'll actually be paying double for it, would you still live in the same house, or would you downscale? Would you still be driving that expensive double cab or German branded vehicle? I wonder. It's very easy for us to pay that premium in the moment because I can afford it. But essentially, interest payments is like borrowing money from your future self. And I agree with you, I can also pay that premium today. But can the future me, the retired me, afford those interest payments? That's the question I have for you today. But for now, here are my 4 steps in order for you to pay your debt off fast. Keep in mind, I will be flying through these steps due to the fact that it will be much more clear and self-explanatory while we do the practical example. So step number 1. You need to accumulate a baby emergency fund. Now, in essence, what I want you to do is accumulate 12,000 Rand. Whether you do that by selling something in your house that you no longer need, whether you utilize an existing investment for that, or whether you save up the 1,000 Rand we spoke about in episode 1 in order to do this, it doesn't really matter. As long as you take the 12,000 Rand and you place it in your access facility. Step number 2, list all your debts, but very importantly, start with the one with the smallest amount and work your way down to the one with the largest amount. After that, add the loan repayment period as well as the interest rate percentage. And lastly, the minimum payment the banks expect you to pay. Right, moving on to step number 3. This is where you'll actually choose the method by which you're going to pay off the debt. Now, I personally use and teach Dave Ramsey's method called the snowball effect. Now, upfront, honest, that might not be the best mathematical solution. I'm perfectly aware of that. The reason why I use it is for the psychological gains each and every person experience while they use this method. So what's the point of the best mathematical solution but nobody can stick to it? I hope you agree with me on that. And lastly, step number 4. So this is where you accumulate your big emergency fund. Now, typically people say you have to save up to 3 months of your salary. But where do you start? When do you start and where do you save it? That's usually the question mark on people's faces when you bring up that conversation. So what I'm going to be teaching you is how to accumulate that 3 months salary and how to do it by killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Let's jump into the practical example and see what happens there. You'll now be listing all your debts, starting with the smallest in terms of amount together with the interest rate and the loan term. Next, you'll be adding the minimum payment required by the bank. Now, if you took my challenge and saved 1,000 Rand in episode 1, you will now be applying it. Add it to your minimum monthly premium of the credit card. Your new premium will be 2,253 Rand, attacking that credit card with a vengeance. Before you see it, you have paid off the card by month 17 instead of month 36. Now for the snowball effect. A snowball gets bigger as it rolls by adding more snow to it. Your vehicle loan minimum premium is $7,393. We will now consequently add the premiums you used to pay for the credit card plus the R1,000 budget saving on top of the minimum premium. Your new premium is $9,546. By month 49, your vehicle will be paid off. What a great feeling. But what happens next? Our snowball just enlarged. We now have the capacity to add the credit card premium, the vehicle loan, and the budget saving, all towards the bond. For practical measures, I left the bond at R1 million. Just remember that in step 1, you already saved R12,000 in the access facility. By adding everything together, you now throw the entire snowman of $19,530 at the bond. What is the result? You are now completely debt-free after 111 months, instead of the original 240 months.
So what does all this really mean? You had the baby emergency fund to keep you on track should something go wrong, whilst you were accumulating the big emergency fund equal to 3 months' salary. You hit this mark in just over 5 years, assuming you earn $40,000 a month. How did I manage this, you ask? After you paid off the credit card and vehicle loan, all the additional premiums apart from the minimum repayments went into your access fund. You paid your debt off 10 years and 7 months earlier. This makes for a saving of nearly $730,000 in interest. But even better, if you invested the money for the remainder of the term at an 8% interest rate, you will have just under $4 million. It's down to you to decide what person you are going to be, the one paying maximum terms on debt or the one that proactively does something about it. Now you can actually save and invest the money, growing your wealth. But enough of my boring voice, back to your host.
All that, and I didn't even expect you to pay more. All you did was budget smart, spend R1,000 somewhere else. You were already spending it. No drastic changes, no stretching yourself beyond means. It's amazing what can happen when you stick to a plan. I always said that as long as you know why you're doing something, it makes it a hell of a lot easier actually doing it. Now, in a nutshell, this strategy is easy. All you're essentially doing is you're taking all your available means and throwing it at the smallest debt. Once you're done with that, you scratch it off the list and you take all of that and apply it to the next smallest debt until your debt is paid off. But hey, don't stop there. If you can save more than R1,000 a month, do it. If you can utilize your bonus that you receive at the end of the year, or at least a portion of it, utilize that for the smallest debt at the time. Even tax returns. Every single drop in the bucket will help in the long run, as I showed you. Now, there's many more ways that you can actually add to this whole snowball effect without breaking the bank. So if you want more of those tips and tricks and to really best utilize this method, get in touch with me on email. I'll gladly forward them to you. The email address is info@pursuitofmoneyness.com. Just again, info@pursuitofmoneyness.com. If you enjoyed this video, reach out to me by liking, subscribing, but most importantly, sending this video to your friends. If you know of anybody that's in debt, share this video with them and invite them on the roadmap to your financial freedom. And lastly, from my side, I'm going to invite you back to the third installment of this series, where I will be discussing what to do with all this extra funds since you now are debt free, but we all have existing investments. So I'm going to be discussing the best investment practices, the best tips and tricks to maximize on those investments, guys. Thank you so much for joining for episode 2 of 4. I can't wait to share the next installment with you. From me, Marnus Mostert, goodbye for now.